Thank you for joining us. We're kind of halfway through day 3 of the event, where we all had a lot of exposure to some new applications, some new technology, some really good use cases with a lot of retailers this year. We thought, given the location in the schedule that we had, we would spend some time this morning talking about how do you pull it all together. So when you think about in-store automation and purpose-built fulfillment in stores, the customer journey in particular, and then you add more complex applications on top of that, like artificial intelligence, meta, Web3, et cetera. How do you pull it all together? So I'm going to have a conversation. I'm Michael Colaneri with AT&T. I run our retail business, and I'm here with the Chief Technology Officer of Louis Vuitton, Antoine Tessier. So I think I'll start with, why don't we introduce yourself a little bit just in terms of your career and your technology background, so we'll get into that.
Thank you, Michael. Nice to see you, everyone. So one small correction, I'm the Chief Technology Officer for LVMH. I used to be Louis Vuitton, now I'm part of the group, so it's an important...
Thank you.
So it's interesting because I'm not a technologist by education, I'm a technologist by heart. I come from a business school, which is not where you learn technology, but you learn how you apply technology to business. And this is what drove my career over the past 15 years. I joined several consultancy. I was in the SAP world, starting to learn what are the different business challenges of my different clients back then. And then I joined Louis Vuitton, where I discovered the world of retail. And since then, I've been there for now, I think, 13 years, 14 years. Enjoying the world of retail, trying to understand how do we apply our technology to provide a better customer experience. I've done many roles on data, on retail, on digital, went through the e-commerce transformation, omni-channel transformation, some of the buzzwords that we're still hearing today. And now the group, it's something a bit different because we're trying to accelerate all of our brands. As you know, LVMH is a group that has 75 different brands in the world, in different markets, in different product categories. And we're trying to accelerate those brands into their omni-channel digital data transformation. Some have different level of maturity, and we're trying to help them through our technology and our blueprint to get there faster.
Very good. And so just quickly, at AT&T, we have 3 divisions of retail. I've got about 5,500 stores. We also have about 11,000 authorized resellers of our consumer products. I run our business that delivers enterprise services out to retailers. So about 10 years ago, we started developing applications and capabilities in our stores that a lot of our retail customers today came to us and said, can you commercialize some of those capabilities and deliver them out into market, and so we've done that. I asked Antoine specifically today because in the last decade we have seen an absolute pattern in the industry where both big box and in the luxury categories, the earliest adoption of technology. So again, when you take all of the things that are out in the market today into context, I thought Antoine would be a great reference to talk to us about how a lot of those things are being applied at LVMH. Okay, so with that context, can you give us a little background on, I'll call it the business and or retail environment at LVMH today?
Sorry, say that again?
The business or retail environment that you're operating in today. So you gave us your background, and so just give us a landscape of what the actual retail environment looks like in terms of a canvas for the technology that you're purveying.
Okay, so as a group, as you know, we have a lot of retail brands. You know some of them, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Fendi, there are a lot out there. And each brand is completely autonomous and independent in the way they want to create and drive their brand desirability and their stores. So at the group, what we're trying to do is to support them, offering them accelerators on technology to help them get the right technology at the right moment in their stores. Our background is quite, in terms of stores in the world, we have a lot of stores that can go to a Sephora stores where the customer experience is way different than the store from Louis Vuitton, for example. So we have a diversity of portfolio. Even though we have that diversity, we're trying to bring some kind of a blueprint that helps them accelerate on the technologies that we have.
And so can you also comment on how you're managing online, offline, inline experience for your consumer across the whole ecosystem of how you deliver technology.
Sure. So when we went through the omni-channel transformation, I think one of the key moments is how do you make sure that your customer experience is the same, whether you're online, offline, in-store, etc., and how do you bring technology to support that? So we have a big partnership with Salesforce that you probably know of. We developed a specific application that enables all of our staff in the stores to clientele with our customers, and it's creating it's moving from a traditional CRM approach to a more personalized relationship. This is one of the things we did to support our client experience. And more now, we are trying to bridge the gap between offline and online, and it comes with we have a partnership now with a company called Tessier for last mile delivery that we're trying to push across the world to make sure that you can have the same shipping experience, for example, when you're in a store or when you're online. And we're continuing to do that. But I just want it's not all about innovation, and it's not all about new tools and new solutions. We are able to do that because we build the foundation and we build the backbone, the technology backbone that allows us to do that and to move fast on this innovation.
Do you see across the different maisons or even across online, offline, any either consumer or retail trends globally, right? Because as you mentioned, you've got brands and you've got stores all over the planet. Are you seeing any specific trends that are kind of triggering how you think about technology?
I think the way there are markets that are very specific in terms of technology.
Yeah.
We can talk about China. China is very specific in terms of technology because there is I would say a technology ecosystem that we cannot move out from. We cannot impose Western technology into China, unfortunately. It's difficult. We are seeing the same in Japan and in Korea with the prevalence of lime or cacao talk, where we know that some of the countries are difficult in terms of technology to push our blueprint, and we have to adapt to what the country is. If we're looking at the Western economies, I think it's a little bit easier. Most of our partners are actually American partners, even if we're HQ'd in France. We have a strong partnership with AT&T. We talked about Salesforce. We have a partnership with Google as well on data with Google Cloud Platform. And those technologies, we're trying to push them as much as possible in all the market. In terms of trends, we are trying to offer the same customer experience wherever the country is, and I think that's where we're powerful. If you're visiting a Dior store in Americas, you will have the same customer experience as if you're visiting a Dior store in Paris, and something that we can enable across the world because we are trying to have standards in technology and the foundation to build on top.
So I'll just use a little localized example for us as well at AT&T, because when I consider call center, retail, online, offline, some of the different channels that we have to operate across, and then you take into context the things that you're talking about, you have all these foundational platforms that you're building your technology experience on top of. How are you using the technology in those platforms to create unique experiences for your consumers from a technology perspective?
Yeah. So there are a few examples that we did recently that, for me, are showing how we are using technology to create business value in our stores. As you probably know, LV was at the inception of the Aura blockchain, which is a proprietary blockchain for luxury brands. Now we've been joined by Richemont, Mercedes, and other retailers.
Yeah.
And the purpose of that blockchain is to offer new experiences to our customers. Recently, we had LV that, I don't know if you've seen that, but they created a collection called LV Diamond. And basically, LV Diamond comes with a digital certificate that is minted on the Aura blockchain, and that is able to give you the traceability of your diamond. So you know where it's coming from. There was nothing illicit about the diamond. And this is some of the things that we're able to offer now to our client using our technology. That's one of the examples. We had also a partnership with a company called Bambuser. It's kind of the QVC, the new QVC online shopping experience. And Fendi started to do a lot of new social experience in the stores. So talk about social commerce. How can you have a one-to-many, one-to-few, or even one-to-one relationship with your clients, leveraging your store experience and your store footprint, and organizing those moments where you can have a famous blogger or someone that has this social reach, that influencer that will actually present your product using that one-to-many experience. And we are starting to decline that to other brands. Dior did a one-to-one advisor. For example, you're online, but you're able at any moment to chat with someone. They did a pilot in one of their countries. And you have a video experience, a video chat with someone that sits in the back, and it's overlaid on your website, so you're really able to run a customer curated selling ceremony using that technology. And we can enable that because in the back end, we have a strong data layer, we have a strong CRM, and we have these strong platforms that are supporting all of our brands. So then it's just enable using technology to enable innovation and to enable new solutions.
Yeah. So one of the first technologies that we had created internally, is very common now, was that concierge experience where you meet someone, particularly in our flagship stores, when you meet someone at the front door with a tablet and you kind of orchestrate the whole experience. I know you're doing that in your stores as well. Can you talk a little bit more about how you deliberately empower store associates with technology to orchestrate that entire experience?
Yeah, so we did that conversion about, I would say, 10 years ago. And the first thing we did was to go mobile first, because it's also very important for the stores and the customer associate to actually be able to be free in the store. And if you go to any store today, there is a lot of staff that are happy to stay behind the POS because it's kind of a protection to the clients. So by trying to be mobile first, we're also giving the opportunity to anyone to be as close as we are today, and to engage, because then now you're entering the circle of trust of your client, and this is what we want. We want to build a trustful relationship between our staff and our clients. So that was the first thing. How can we be mobile first? So we started to develop, to put their client data into their hands. So they were able to know and reach to their clients and start reaching in a more very personal way. Hey, this is Antoine. You should come today. There is this new product. Oh, here's a picture of me using that product, etc. So that was the first step. And then we started to go through the omni-channel transformation with new technologies, because we had to get from a legacy technologies that was, some of you know, the old AS400 technology. So we moved to a new technology that enables us to do also new customer experience and give technology in the hands of our staff. So we have a POS system, we have mobile payments, and we went through that so that at any point, wherever you are in the store, you can actually keep going with your client. You can be on the back bar, then you can go to the ready-to-wear, then you can go to the shoe salon. And at all time, you can just follow your client, make sure that he's fully comfortable, run the sale whenever he wants to pay, and this is how we enable our staff.
So let's liberate that for a little bit, because I want to talk about some of the technology that's been a lot of folks have been exposed to while we've been at this event here. Web3, Meta, next generation computational, personalized artificial intelligence. Can you talk about some of those things in the context, because it feels like it bolts right onto how you empower your associates?
Yeah, it's actually interesting because you probably heard Mr. Arnault last year said we're not here to sell $10 sneakers on the metaverse, and it's actually the statement. And our chairman this morning at the keynote reinforced that message. If we're going to the metaverse, the Web3, etc., it's to be very close to our brand DNA and our brand heritage. We don't want, this is what the backbone of brands. This is what makes us successful, and we don't want to go away from that. So there is a team that was put in place about 2 years ago to actually start reviewing those topics and start to bring guidance to the brands so that we have a consistent way of approaching the topic of Web3 and metaverse. The idea is not to open a Fendi store in Roblox or in Sandbox. Maybe it will happen one day. But it was also to curate those experiences so that they're true to the brand DNA. We have examples like that. I think one of the most successful examples is what Tiffany did last year. There's a partnership with CryptoPunk, where they actually released an NFT, which was about $50,000 back then. They released only 250 of those NFTs. And if you had a CryptoPunk, you could get, for $50,000, a pendant, and on the pendant, the Tiffany manufacturing team actually is building the pendant so that it looks like your CryptoPunk. That was last August, and we're starting to see the first pendant coming out of manufacturing and being delivered to the clients. So it's really linking the best of both worlds. We are giving you we are mixing the digital world or the metaverse world with actually something real that you can show to everyone. And this is one of the experiences that we've had. Another one recently that was for the World Cup, Hublot created a kind of a stadium on the metaverse that was one of the largest footprint in terms of size of and you can navigate that stadium and look at the Hublot product and learn more about the World Cup. And those are not metaverse per se, I think they're more microverse. How do we bring our store environment and our brand desirability into a more 3D environment to support our events, our stores, and our marketing campaign?
I don't know if you can answer this question, but I'll ask anyway. Are you able to track conversion or value proposition from those investments, early investments, and whether you did with Roblox or any of the stuff you did with Web3, et cetera? Can you track that yet, or you're still it's too early in the stage to figure out what that's going to mean to the business?
What Tiffany did is one of the most successful NFT drop in terms of value that anyone did. For only 250 drops, it was sold out super fast, and if you look at the total, it was super successful. So yes, we know that when we do it right and we do it well, there is value. But you have to think about the framework that you put behind it. We're not doing it just to be there, just to be hyped, just to be the first one out there. We're doing it because it's, again, in line with our brands and what they want to convey in terms of image to their customers.
Very good. Okay, let me pivot to back of house. I just want to ask a couple of questions around supply chain. Everybody's been plagued by that in retail. Can you talk about, from a technology perspective, you're our CTO here for LVMH globally, what technologies have you put in place relatively in the last couple of years that may be helping addressing some of those challenges?
So RFID is a big topic. We've been using it in some of our brands. Not only first to have a full traceability of our supply chain, to be able to know the products where they're manufactured, from the moment they're manufactured, they're entering regional warehouse, etc., and when they're distributing to the stores. This was a big investment already a couple years back. It takes a while. We have a lot of products. You need to make sure that you have the right process to tag them all from the manufacturing process through the entire supply chain. And now we're starting to see that we want to start using that at the store level. We're still in the premise of it. I've visited store, and again, it has to be done right. I visited a store on Sunday. I will not disclose their name, in Soho. They had this whole RFID experience where you could wave a product in front of a screen and you can check size, etc. And half of the screens were not working. Most of the time, the client advisor was too busy. And when you were asking what's the problem, they were like, it rarely works. So we're not, again, trying to push technology for the sake of technology.
Yeah.
It has to be here to help our staff and to support the customer experience. We have, though, started to look at, to your point, how do we optimize back of house? Okay, now we know that we have a box coming with 15, 20 products. Before, we were opening the box, counting the products, scanning them all one by one into the back of our system. Okay, now how can we do, just with a RFID reader, how can we know exactly what's in the box? We were doing inventory counting manually. How can we start now to do inventory counting using an RFID racket? So it's progressing. We're getting there. And we are able to do that because we started from the inception, which is when we produce the bag, where does it go, where do we put the tag, and then following that bag through its entire life cycle. The second one we did, it was very interesting because that's one of the downsides of the drawback of omnichannel. The drawback of omnichannel was that some stores became fulfillment center. And as we have a challenge where we need to increase footprint, we need to increase the selling footprint of our store so that we have more and more footprint for our products. We need to reduce the back of house. So we started to have challenges where the back of house was too small. And the back of house was crowded with just order from online or from other stores that we had to ship to clients in the full omnichannel approach. So now it's a question of not only technology, it's a question of space. And how do we review and optimize the back of our space so that we can actually have products receiving and products shipping faster. So this is the kind of things that we're reviewing today. It's most of the time it's also something very local to the store, and you have a lot of minds going through it in terms of how you organize the store. But again, what we try to do is first, you don't need a back of house POS. How can we make it mobile? How can we make it on an iPad? How can we have the RFID tool that enables that flow? And this is where we are today.
So now I'm going to liberate that a little bit because what I'm taking away from your comment is the efficiency that you were able to drive with the technology. And then if I go back to the front of the house, and we factor in the comments you made earlier about the things and some of the experiments you've done in that space, how do you see the customer journey evolving as impacted by the technology investments that you've made in the near future or not too far out future?
What's interesting is that I think more and more people are entering a store because they want to. They're not doing that because they're browsing anymore. They're coming to your store because they want to have that human interaction, and they want to talk to someone.
Well, with all due respect, the experience I get in a Louis Vuitton store is pretty good.
I know. That's why you come.
That's right. You have a significant portion of your business is online, right? And
yeah, but think about it. We always say online is a significant portion of the business. If you look at I think the latest study, we're around in the US 25%. You still have 75% of your business that is brick and mortar. So retail will still be extremely important for our business.
I agree completely. I was only trying to make the point that the experience is so wonderful, and a lot of the brands that you support in LVMH, that why would you buy online? Go in and have the experience. Really super. But anyway, go back. I didn't want to take you off point on answering the question. Just how do you see that evolving? And I'm really, again, interested from a technology perspective, how you see that customer journey evolving or how it's been impacted by the investments you've already made.
So I will talk about something, and I think they're in the room. We have created in Paris what we call the LVMH Lab, and the LVMH Lab is to identify. His main goal is to identify potential innovations that are in these events or that are coming from the brands, and trying to link those innovations and those new solutions to a customer journey. So the LVMH Lab is actually working with different maisons in the group and trying to say, okay, now we're going to work for a Web3 journey. We're going to work on a shipping journey, on a client journey. What does it look like in the store? What would be the perfect journey in the store? And this lab, and I invite you to go to Vivatech in Paris in June, because this is one of the big events, and LVMH is co-sponsor of the event. And we're presenting those journeys, and we're presenting what we're doing with innovation, and where do we feel the journey will go. And I think that probably it's the best moment for you to discover what we can do. From my point of view, I think we still need to have strong retail mindset. I'm, as a customer, I'm going to a store because I need to discover something new. I've been to 2 stores that were really interesting on Sunday. One of them is in Soho. It's a brand that I didn't know. They are doing sneakers and shoes, quite expensive. And you enter the store and you don't see the product that you need to buy. Their statement is, we are able to recycle, repair those shoes forever. So the entire experience is linked to the service that goes behind their product, so that they make the statement that if you buy the product now, you buy it for life, which is exactly what our brands are doing. We have a lot of craftsmanship, we have a lot of savoir-faire. If you think about what Remova did recently, so it's, for the ones who don't know, it's one of our brands. They are doing aluminum luggage and luggage, very high-end luggage. And they did something where they ask customers to bring back their old Remova luggage in exchange of a, I think it was 250 euros voucher. So you could buy a new one. But the old one was sent to a repair center. They reviewed it, fixed it, and then they opened it to a second-hand on their website so that you could buy a second-hand Remova and continue your, or start your journey with the brand because it's a second-hand and it's probably cheaper. So it's also a way for us to control that second-hand market that's out there, and make sure that it stays within our brand and it's linked again to our DNA. We have a craftsmanship. It's not only to make product, it's to repair the product and make sure that they are living forever. I had a chance to visit the one of the repair centers of Louis Vuitton in the US. There is artisans there that are working for 6-8 months on a trunk, trying to restore that trunk to make sure that it's in the best condition because it's an heritage from the family. Someone really likes it. It's an emotional heritage. And this is, I think, what our value is. And the way I feel like our customer journey is evolving is that it's no longer just the product, it's what it represents, and it's how sustainable it is, and how can we continue to drive that journey the entire life of a customer.
That's a great summary comment, because I was going to ask you, sustainability has been a very popular topic throughout the conference here, and again, technology oriented, and in light of all the commentary you're making around the consumer journey and the visibility, the transparency that is expected around that. Can you make any comments about it? Is it premature to talk about technology work that's being done to honor sustainability in terms of transparency for the consumer?
I think it's a little bit premature. Transparency, we have the example of what LV did for LV Diamonds and using the Aura blockchain.
Yes.
Making sure that you know where your product is coming from. There is a strong, there is an environment committee at LVMH level that's presenting on a yearly basis our achievements. This is something that every brand is looking into. And not only on the product side, on the technology side, we're looking at it too. How can we be more sustainable in the way we're consuming technology? Do we really have to change our mobile devices every 2 years? Can we extend to 3 years? Do we have to change our laptop so often? Can we buy better so that it lasts longer? When it's dying, what do we do? Should we recycle it? Can we repair it? Can we donate it? So also as a technologist, we need to look at our impact on the environment. It's of course on end user device because it's the most visible one. It's also on how do we consume data centers? How do we consume storage? Storage equals energy. So is it normal that we keep 10 years of archives of your emails? Should we reduce that? How many versions of document do we keep? Do we need to have the full history, or should we keep 6 months? And at the end, if we're looking at that, you're starting to see the impact on your environmental footprint as a technology company. So this is, on our side, what we're looking into. How can we be more green and contribute to the effort that the group is doing?
Very good. I want to ask one more topic, and I'll ask a couple of wrap-up questions, and then if there's any questions from the audience, we'll go there. security, and security not only in terms of network, technical, and operational security, but also safe experience for consumers. Just again, a technology reference in terms of how you think about that, or any innovations that you're playing with around security.
Product security, you mean?
You take it wherever you want. And honestly, because my question is technology based, and that's why I wanted to leave it a little more general for you to talk about how you think about that, both consumer, and then of course you've got enterprise security.
Of course, we have enterprise security, and we have a chief information security officer. On that front, we're pretty aligned and advanced in terms of how the maisons are reacting. As we are a group, we want to make sure that our maisons are fully protected from external attacks.
Sure.
Security is, so we could go that route. On the other one, we recently, we have a strong security practice in product security practice in the US, and it's linked to the nature of our products. We know our products are, everyone wants them. We've had a lot of cases of grab and run, and the question is, how do we react to those grab and runs from? So I won't disclose exactly all of our solutions, otherwise it's gonna give tips to the bad guys. We've been partnering with AT&T as well on those topics. But it's there, and it's a need as well to make sure we protect our product, not only from just we put a lock on our product that's honestly not preventing anyone from just grabbing it and leaving most of the time. So it's more on how can we recover faster, how can we track our product. We've had a discussion with you in the past around smart label and how can we actually track our product along the value chain, not only to offer new services to our clients, but also to be able to track if a product was delivered, etc. So we're there, we're looking at it. It's not prevalent right now,
yeah.
But this is a topic.
Okay, very good. Let me ask you a couple more questions. Is there anything you would have done differently when you consider the whole technology journey that you just kind of articulated way through on answering my point questions? Is there anything you would have done differently?
It's difficult to answer that question because I risk to lose my bonus if I say yes.
Okay, let's not put that at risk.
No, I think, to be honest, I see that we are very advanced in terms of technology. The first thing that I would recommend everyone is to look at organization. We were able to build, so we have blueprints by, depending on the different topics. That blueprint is we have a basic technology stack, and then on top of that, we have additional solutions that are offering business value on top of that technology stack. And we have those blueprints for clienteling, e-commerce, etc. And we're able to push that because we have the right organization behind it. It's difficult to push transformation if you don't have the right skills nor the right mindset in your organization. And if you're looking at new brands that we recently acquired, like Tiffany that we acquired 2-3 years ago, they're going through a transformation right now that is extremely fast and extremely strong. And it all started by, is my organization the right one? Do I have the right people? Do I have the right skills to support that? So and not only on the IT side, it's also on the business side. You need to have that mindset. And so I would not have done anything differently. I think we're doing it very well. And we're able to accelerate the transformation of our brands just because we have that mindset where everyone contributes to the transformation on top of a solid, very, very solid foundation.
Very good. Thank you so much. That's a great lead-in because certainly the ideals at AT&T, we're all about the foundational architecture and whatever you're going to build on top of that, all the technologies you're talking about. That's kind of key interest for us. All right, so one last question for me, and it's a little bit of a twist on the last question I just asked. Do you have any tips or key learnings that you've had in your role that you would share with other retailers that are in the house today, particularly relative to the technology journey?
Yeah. The main tip that we have, it's been a bit easier since COVID. You need to go back to the why you're doing technology. And it goes back to what we are discussing around the metaverse. Are you doing technology for just the sake of doing it, or are you doing technology to actually bring business value? if you are approaching anyone around and any of your business partners, the CFO, if you're not telling them why you're doing something, they won't even look at the cost of it because you need to bring added value. We are always seeing ourselves as a cost center. I think we are more than that, and we have the opportunity at LVMH to be also at the executive committee and reporting directly to the CEO. Our global CIO is reporting to the managing director of LVMH, so he has a seat at the table. He's not seen as a cost center, he's seen as an advisor. And why is seen as an advisor? Because from the beginning he started to say, this is why we're doing this. This is the business value that we can bring. And if we bring all people together, we can actually defend those. And then if we have added value, if we have a business value, the cost is secondary. We know that we can generate that much money if we go with that, so let's do it. We can generate that much conversion on top of it, etc. So one of the tips is always go back to the why you're doing it, and what is the business value behind it. In the things that I've seen in my career that failed, this is it. This is because I was not able to explain or express the real business value behind it.
That's it. Okay, we have a couple of minutes for questions if there are any. There are microphones in the aisles here. If anybody has a question, you could step forward. Otherwise, I think that's a wrap. And you do?
Hello. I was wondering, in this current economic climate, we're seeing more and more consumers go into debt and consumers' wallets are under pressure. What is LVMH doing to promote financially responsible shopping?
Oh, wow.
It's a leading question, that's why I asked.
I give you the example of Remova, for example. How do we it's a little bit outside of my responsibility, but I will give you that example. For me, it's a way to show that, okay, we're doing products and we're able to repair that product for your entire life. So you're going to buy it once. I've seen examples where we were able also to repair a iconic Louis Vuitton bag, and we are able to repair it for life. And this is the promise that our stores and our brands are doing to their customer. Okay, the price is high, but behind it you have craftsmanship. Most of it is manually made. The products are sourced, and the sourcing of our product is very stringent. So this is what builds the cost of a bag. It's not only the experience, it's not only the I would say the communication, it's also the effort that we put in creating those bags. And if you have that value and if you're able to show that this is what you're buying, you're not just buying a bag. I think this is the statement from our brands. After there are discussions to how can we be more sustainable, etc. So I invite you to look at that Remova example, because for me it's exactly the direction that the brands are taking. We don't want to discount our product. We never do that. We will never do it. But we need to make sure that we educate our clients on what is our brand value and why the price is high. Because if the price is high, but you can keep it forever, think about it. It's not so high anymore.
Hello, Torin Johnson of Envy. I wanted to ask, do you see or have any current initiatives where artificial intelligence is creating better experiences for and supporting your frontline employees and your customers?
Yeah, we have plenty. We have a team in Paris dedicated to, so we have a chief data officer, Anka Marola, and she has a team of data scientists and experts that are working on super algorithm on different topics. One of them can be product recommendation. And it's based on our Google Cloud Platform partnership. And we are looking at those algorithms to support the brands in the way they are approaching the customer. So the role is not to replace again the knowledge that a client advisor can have of their clients, but it's also to enhance how they talk to their clients by giving them insights. And it's not something we do on behalf of against data privacy. Of course not. We're using the data that is first-party data. And we're using the data that the client consents to share with us, because we know that one of the topics that's more and more difficult these days. So yes, we have plenty of examples of what we do. We can have a chat conversation if you want to go deeper.
I want to answer that on behalf of AT&T also, because I will tell you there's a movement now, and we're putting a lot of thought effort into how do we get to next gen analytics, period. So when you consider first gen artificial intelligence, chatbots, cookies, all of the things that really serve the proprietor and not the consumer, we're seeing an absolute trend in the consumer market where consumers are kind of pushing back and saying, I want to own my data, and I want to make sure that whatever you're computing as you gather my first party, or if I become your first party data, that you return a personalized value back to me, because just giving me references that are generic about people who look like me or who bought this and bought that, the market is pushing back on that. So there's a significant investment in how do we get to the next generation of analytics that are going to really put the power back in the hands of the consumer so that first party data really belongs to the consumer.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I was hoping you could just speak for a minute about the value of innovation for LVMH. Usually, as organizations get larger, innovation gets harder, but somehow you just seem to get better at it as you get larger, and it also tends to be almost like an antithesis of like luxury premium brands. So how is it that you keep getting better at it over time? It seems to be incredibly difficult to do.
I don't think we should tell anyone that.
Top secret.
Do you know him?
No.
Okay, it's
No.
a good question.
Again, it's a question of, first of all, I think there is our values. Innovation is in the value of LVMH. Entrepreneurship is in the value of LVMH. Creativity is in the value of LVMH. So we, as a culture of the company and all the brands, this is in our culture. And I think it's also the way you recruit talent. This is something that you are going to look for. And it's not innovation for the sake of buying the next solution, etc. It's also innovation in your day-to-day work. How do you find, how are you creative to fix a problem or to fix a challenge? So I think it's in everyone's DNA in terms of recruitment and employees. And it's also an organization. I think Claire is she's right there. We have a team, and it's not only a technology team, it's also the business side of it, and they're working together to bring innovation. And again, it's innovation linked to a customer journey. So it's an whole organization that's behind it. We are co-sponsoring Vivatech, and we were one of the founders of Vivatech, which is one of the largest salons in Europe now. And it's really part of our culture, but that organization allows us to, at the group level, find common grounds, pilot with the maison if it works. You know, if most of the time you will buy something because one of your friends tells you should buy it. So we are working about the same way at LVMH. We are testing something with the maison, and then she's going to do a roadshow. That maison is going to do a roadshow to everyone saying, hey, I've done it. And we have an innovation committee. We meet on a monthly basis. And that innovation committee is not a top-down approach. It's every brand coming to share what they've done with a specific topic. And then it fosters interest, and you can get there, and this is how we do it.
Thank you very much.
That looks like that's all the questions this morning. So let me do two things quickly, just on behalf of AT&T. I want to thank you all. I know that it's halfway through the last day of a marathon here where we've had a lot of opportunity to get a lot of exposure. So thank you for coming in and for your attention this morning, all of you. And please help me thank my esteemed guest, Antoine Tessier, the
Thank you, Michael.
Chief Technology Officer of LVMH. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. For more videos from AT&T Business, click subscribe.